This is Nick Ortiz with the Giants, and you're listening to Jim on Base.
Welcome to the Jim on Base podcast. My name is Jim Stevens, and this is the podcast that catches you up with some of your favorite athletes and other entertainment figures. For today's episode, I was able to catch up with Nick Ortiz. Nick Ortiz spent 17 years in the minor leagues, an MLB scout as well, and is now the Giants' quality assurance coach. Nick literally does it all and explains some of the roles that he does in a day with the team, and also how he manages his time as a dad, a husband, and a grandpa. Here's my time in the Giants dugout with Nick Ortiz.
This is Nick Ortiz with the Giants, and you're listening to Jim on Base.
For today's very special guest, we have on a Giants coach, Nick Ortiz. Nick, thanks for coming on and give us some time. It's nice to have you on.
Oh, no problem. Thanks for the invite.
And you're the quality assurance coach, right?
Yes, correct.
And I know that envelops a lot of different things. I saw you today, you were throwing BP a little bit. I've seen you lately putting ground balls into the machine, spitting them out to Crawford, and you also do translating too.
Yes, those are one of the few things that I do, or three of the few things that I do around here. So, one of the fun parts about my job is that I get to connect with every area. So it allows for a lot of growth for a coach. You start connecting not only with the players, but you also got to have a really good relationship with the coaches. And so far, it's been great.
And you were also a scout, right, before all this started? I know you played minor league ball for a while. How did you get into scouting? And then from scouting, how do you get into coaching?
Well, I did play minor league ball for a while. I played for 17 years. During those 17 years, there were 2 that I didn't play because I had surgery. So it was 15 seasons overall. I got into scouting with the Yankees, New York Yankees. A friend of mine, Jose Rosado, who was a coach with the Yankees, recommended me for the job. Damon Oppenheimer gave me the opportunity, along with Brian Barber, who was a national cross-checker at the time. And I did that for 5 years. I was a part-time scout in Puerto Rico, but at the same time, I was working with player development. During the summers, I managed the rookie ball teams, and I'd go to spring training and work out with one of the teams.
And how do you get a good reputation, like as a scout?
Well, as far as the reputation goes, you have to go back to your playing days, right? What people perceive of you is very important, but your everyday lifestyle says a lot. The way you handle yourself, not only in good times, but through adversity, people get to know you. And when it comes to these jobs, that's when they start recommending you. As a scout, how do you get a good reputation within your organization, within the industry? Is just following the organizational values that every organization has, right? For us, the Yankees, it was very important to be clean-shaven, to have that appearance of a clean look. We had to wear collar shirts. Well, it starts there. It's just by recognizing there's rules that you may not like personally, but you still have to apply them. And after that, obviously, it goes to your job. If you have to report certain players to a certain date, you better make sure that you have those players reported by that time.
And you're also from Puerto Rico. So how long were you there, and how did you get to America?
Well, I was born and raised in Puerto Rico for the most part, because I did live for years when I was a kid in Chicago, right? So I went back to Puerto Rico when I was close to 13 years old. I moved over to Chicago when I was about to turn 8. And within those 4 years, I went back and forth to Puerto Rico. But eventually, when I was 13, I got Puerto Rico and I stayed there, and I got drafted when I was 16 and 11th grade, which is, I think, a little bit against the rules if you look at them. So it was an interesting start to my professional career because I didn't know many rules about professional baseball. I didn't even know what a draft was at that time. In Puerto Rico, it was only the second year that the draft was implemented. And, within that situation, I started to learn about the game and the rules and how everything worked, even from management up top to coaching, how the coaches handle themselves. And little did I know that was going to help me out for the job that I have now.
What makes me think you could have done some Julio Franco stuff, right, and say you were born a different year?
Well, we can't. Obviously, we're as Puerto Ricans, we're U.S. citizens. We have Social Security, so it'd be a lot harder to do stuff like that. But all joke aside, that was my story. I got drafted when I was 16. I waited 1 year. I reported to spring training when I was 17, and here I am now with the Giants.
Well, who were some of your favorite players and teams growing up? Was it like Chicago teams then, or?
Yes, no, definitely. I was a fan of the Chicago Cubs, right? I was talking to Mark Hallberg, our third base coach today, that when I was in school, I used to go running about a mile to my house, just catch the last 3 innings of the Cubs games because they played so many day games at that time. So yeah, I grew up watching Leon Durham, Keith Moreland, Sean Dunston. My favorite player, and I got to meet him when I went to spring training with the Cubs, was Ryan Sandberg. Obviously a Hall of Famer, one of the best second basemen to ever play the game, and a quality human being too. So I was fortunate enough to get to meet Ryan Sandberg, who's one of my favorite players.
That's awesome. I got to have him on the show, and like you said, he was an awesome guy. Very thorough, well-rounded guy.
Yes, no doubt. That was my experience with him as an adult, as a player, when I went to spring training, and that's what I perceived of him when he was playing, in his playing days as well. Like a total professional, a guy who handled himself well, and a guy who just appeared to be a good teammate.
Well, I saw a picture you posted last week with Jose Cruz. So is he one of your favorites? Or because it's hard for me not to say Jose Cruz Jr. because his son was my era and played for the Giants.
Yeah, no doubt. I did play with Jose, actually against Jose Cruz Jr. in winter ball for many years, and I've known Cheo and all his family for many, many years, being from Puerto Rico. And they call Jose Cruz the player of the people in Puerto Rico, because he always went back, even though he was having so much success in the States, in the big leagues. He always went back and played winter ball in Puerto Rico, and people that couldn't afford to come over here in the States and watch him, people who didn't have TVs at that time to be able to watch him, they were able to go see him play with the Leones de Ponce, which is a team that he played for many, many years.
And I know you played a lot of winter ball too, right?
Yes, I did. Every season that I played in the States, I played winter ball plus one more. I played 18 years of winter ball and 16 seasons. Well, actually around 17 seasons, because one of the seasons I was already healthy from that surgery. So, yeah, I did play for a long time. After that, when I started, and not many people know this, I started scouting with the Yankees, and I was already managing in the minor leagues, and I was still playing a Pro-Am league back home. So that plays three days a week. So my baseball career really lasted 28 years, but professionally it was 18.
Yeah, it's like 35 years of experience right there.
Yeah, no doubt. I just love playing the game. And when I got older, I actually made a comeback after 5 years of not playing winter ball and played one more season when I was 39 years old with the Leones de Ponce, which is a team that Jose Cruz used to play for. And interesting story, I've been the only player in the history of the league to win the comeback player of the year twice. So it was kind of interesting. One was because I had surgery and didn't play, and then the next year I won in 2008. And the other one was 2012 when I made a comeback at age 39, so it's pretty cool.
Well, for having some surgeries, I mean, you're in great shape still. So who's benching more, you or Kapler?
Oh, no, definitely Cap. I don't think anybody here can, hit the weight room next to Cap. When he's in there, you just kind of, move to the side a little bit and let him do his thing. But, Cap's intense. He's very well prepared in everything he does. Like, he knows about bodybuilding. He knows about, weightlifting and all that stuff. So, it's just it's fun while he's at the gym.
Well, I don't want to get on your bad side because I know your dad was a great boxer. So I don't know. Do you have quick hands, or I got to be careful?
Yeah, that was my first sport. All my friends had pictures with their friends and with baseball gloves or basketballs. I had pictures posing as a boxer with boxing gloves on, and at the gym with my dad and just running around, the neighborhood doing exercises since I was a little kid. Very proud to say that my dad was an Olympic boxer in 1972. He represented Puerto Rico in Munich. Then later on, he turned professional. He was a North American champion. He was ranked number 5 in the world by the Boxing Ring magazine in 1975 as a welterweight. Number 5 welterweight in the world. So, to come from a boxing background and to have a father that taught you the passion and love for preparing for sport, it was awesome.
Well, do Rocky movies hit different then, or do you laugh at it?
No. Rocky movies are my favorite. My son, I have a 14-year-old son who loves Rocky movies. He's like a throwback. He likes Michael Jackson. He likes Rocky movies. He likes things that maybe they're not his era, but for some reason they attract him. So we keep watching them at home.
Well, how do you balance that then between your busy schedule here? You got to have other interests, but you're also a dad and a husband, right?
Oh, yes, I am. I'm actually a grandfather right now, yeah. At age 49.
You're probably the only grandpa on staff, right?
I'm the only grandpa on staff, and I'm the oldest staff member that we have now, aside from who's a part-time staff member, but like a full-time staff member now. I'm the wiser guy, let's put it that way. I'm not necessarily the oldest guy, but yeah, all kidding aside, I'm the oldest guy in the staff. And how do I balance my life? It's very important, right? Because I have 3 kids. My daughter, 23, who's Gabriela. She made me a grandfather a year ago. when she got married 3 years ago, and I have a grandson named Danny. I have a new relationship, which I've been married for 18 years with my wife, Rosalie Hernandez, and we have two kids, Christian, who's 14, and Alexandra, who was the owner of the house pretty much. She's 8. She runs things back home. So it's very important for me to keep in touch with them every day. I FaceTime them a lot, right, while they're not here. And, they're very supportive of what I do. And, we just manage to balance it out.
I saw you on the field today and some salsa came on, and you said, hey, did you video that? So I didn't video, but I'll ask you about it. You got some good dance moves.
Well, let me tell you something. My sister has a dance school and a academy back home. She danced with Daddy Yankee for 5 years. She danced with many known artists in the Latino community, and she's a pro. So I learned from her. She's actually married to Daddy Yankee's brother, by the way. So my nephews and nieces are his nephews and nieces too. So we have a good relationship with both families. So that's where I have my little dancing background too for my sister.
So there's some music there. Who do you listen to? Do you listen to everything, or what's kind of, because Kapler, I got to talk to him about music, and that was a lot of fun.
Yeah, no, Kapler knows. I told you he's very prepared in every aspect. He knows about music too. He knows about food and all that. But I listen to all type of music, right? I listen to Spanish music, American music. I like 90s rock, 80s rock, Bon Jovi, Def Leppard, Cinderella, if you go back then, Metallica, REO Speedwagons, just stuff like that. Mixes us up.
Lenny Kravitz, do you ever fit him in?
Lenny Kravitz is outstanding. He's awesome. I like not only his music but his style, right? He's a cool dude. So yeah, I just listen to everything. I'm very diverse when it comes to music.
Well, Nick, I don't want to take up too much of your time, but I just got to say thanks for doing this interview. I was looking forward to it, and it was a lot of fun.
No, thank you for having me.
Well, I look forward to seeing you around the rest of the year, and have a good game today.
No doubt. Thank you.
And there you have it. That's my time with Giants quality assurance coach Nick Ortiz. And if you haven't already, make sure to give us a follow on Twitter. And if you have any guest suggestions, shoot me an email at jimonbaseshow@gmail.com. And we'll see you on the next one.